Hello, my name's Andrew, and these are the pros and the cons of the Freet Durham versus the vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT. So these are my two favorite do-everything barefoot boots, with the Durham being my favorite barefoot work boot, and the Tracker AT being my all-time favorite barefoot hiking boot. But the great thing is that the Durham is actually rugged enough to handle hiking, and the Tracker AT can also be great as a work boot. In terms of width, they're actually very similar, with both boots being wide, but the Durham is a little bit more square here and in the front, whereas the Tracker tapers off a little sooner. In terms of the upper, both boots have really beautiful natural leather, although the Durhams look a little bit more polished and classy, whereas the Tracker AT just has kind of a more worn in rugged look, which I love. But both boots have a stitched sole, which is always excellent for durability. The Tracker AT gets extra points though because it has this rubber rand as well, which makes the boot really soft and flexible, while also providing some really nice water resistance. With the stretchy Chelsea setup here, you can slip the Durhams on really quickly, which is great for running errands or going in and out of the house a lot. And while the Tracker AT is not as convenient in that sense, it does have a gusseted tongue, which is a little more water resistant up higher, and if you skip the top two eyelets, you can actually slip into it pretty easily. Inside, both boots do have some leather lining, but for Freet it's mostly perforated synthetic and then the synthetic Chelsea, whereas for the Tracker it's all natural materials inside with some soft suede accents, as well as a cotton canvas footbed, although it's kind of hard to see because it's so dark. So yeah, the Tracker AT definitely wins for me in terms of breathability and temperature regulation, but I can also use the Durhams for all season with the perforated lining, and then also the fact that it's just a little bit more open up here for airflow. And I actually prefer uninsulated barefoot boots because they're cooler in summer, and then in winter you can stack up a couple pairs of wool socks as well as a thin wool felt insole, which doesn't impact the ground feel of the shoe but just adds a lot of temperature regulation and moisture wicking. In terms of the sole, the Freet Durham is 7mm, so it's a little bit thicker but actually has some really good flex, and the Tracker Leather AT is 6.5mm, but the flexibility is just bananas with this thing. For the Durham, it's got a really rugged tread, and the heel especially is super dense, which makes it perfect for doing more heavy duty stuff like stomping on a shovel, but there's not much space between the lugs, so it's not as versatile on wet, slippery terrain. With the AT on the other hand, the lugs are spaced far enough apart that they work really well on wet terrain, and they've got this claw-like hex shape, which makes the Tracker Leather perfect for going up and down steep, muddy hills. And then the lugs get a little bit wider and closer together in the back, which is nice for protection, but I'd say the Muddy definitely wins in terms of firm ground. Finally, in terms of grip, the Freet Muddy is kind of like medium traction, while the Tracker AT just feels a little bit softer and more tacky, which is why it's my favorite barefoot hiking boot. And paired with the fact that it's super thin and flexible, it's really good at wrapping itself around any kind of terrain, even wet, slippery boulders. So yeah, those are the pros and the cons of the Freet Durham versus the vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT. But if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop the referral links down below, browse and filter more products with the shoe finder tool at my website barefootwear.org, or watch my zero drop transition video to learn more about barefooting. Finally, if you have a question about the Freet Durham or the vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.